Hello everybody from Plant Reviews UK. Today is the 10th of April 2023, so Easter Monday, and I really want to show you a beautiful gift I got from Border Alpines, where I ordered recently a few plants. There is Gladiolus huttonii, that was formerly known as Homoglossum huttonii. This is a Gladiolus species, so unlike the most famous garden varieties of gladioli, this plant is actually quite small. I would say about 30 centimeters tall. I read that can grow up to 60, so about 1 to 2 foot tall. And unlike most of the gladioli hybrid varieties so common in the garden, have this sword-shaped foliage, and the name Gladiolus indeed means a small leaf, in reference to the shape of the leaves. But there is actually another theory that gladioli for small sword was due to the fact that they were used during the Roman Empire to shower the gladiators with flowers, to the winning gladiators with gladioli flowers. But I honestly believe it's probably more in reference to the sword-shaped leaf of the most common species and varieties native to Southern Europe and Northern Africa, whilst the many species in Southern Africa, that is actually the area where gladioli species are most numerous, and indeed the Gladiolus huttonii comes from the Cape region from Southern Africa. Is actually the center of diversity of gladioli. So if you think about the best place to find gladioli species, definitely think about South Africa, and in particular the Cape region is one of the most biodiverse areas for gladioli species, as well as many other species of plants, including bulbous plants, cormous plants, and of course the many species of protea and proteus and related African genera. About this plant, obviously I cannot take any prize for this blooming, because the plant actually was sent as a gift already with one flower open, and this other one just opened a couple of days ago. It was in bud when I received the plant, but I'm absolutely pleased of this gift from Border Alpines. The plant, as usual for gladioli, for bulbous and cormous plants, need very well drained soil, and unlike gladioli hybrids so common in the United Kingdom that are spring and summer growers, gladioli species, many gladioli species like Gladiolus huttonii, they are actually winter and spring, autumn, winter and spring growers. So basically the foliage starts developing in autumn and grows throughout the winter, with the blooming of the plant between late winter and spring. And indeed we are in early spring in the United Kingdom, where I live, and the plant is now in full bloom. A peculiarity of the plant is just usually, gladioli hybrids produce a multitude of flowers on the flower stem. This one instead has only 2 flowers, and it is many gladioli species don't have really that many flowers, and also the size of the flower is actually quite small. If you can see in between my finger, you can realize it is about 3 centimeters across. You know that I love red and orange flowers, and actually I am absolutely pleased with the color of this flower. You can see that is a kind of very pastel orange, I would say, except for the tips of the petals and sepals that are bright red, with stripes and splashes of yellow in between. The flower is tubular. You can see how long is actually the flower from the calyx to the petals. And the shape of the flower is so peculiar and quite different from the Gladioli hybrids we know of, is because this species pollinated in nature by some birds. Some birds are passerine birds, so they are relatives of sparrows and finches. But unlike sparrows and finches, have evolved a pollinating activity very similar to hummingbirds in the New World. So the sunbirds are like the equivalent of the hummingbirds in the so-called old world of Africa and Asia, even if there are a few species in Oceania, so Australia, Papua New Guinea, and some other islands nearby. As typical of many flowers pollinated by birds, show a color of red and orange because birds are very sensitive to this color. But another peculiarity of flowers pollinated by birds is that due to the fact that birds don't have a very well developed sense of smell, a very well developed olfactory system, most of the flowers pollinated by birds are actually scentless, without any fragrance, at least not that us humans can detect of, and I strongly doubt obviously birds either, because as far as we know, pollinating birds have an olfactory system even worse than humans. So, and indeed, unfortunately, in this beautiful flower, I can't detect absolutely any fragrance. This is not true for all Gladioli species. Indeed, actually, whilst even the most common garden hybrids of Gladiolus do not have a scent or a particularly strong scent. As far as I know, there's not really much scent in Gladioli hybrids I found for sale. Several species of Gladioli have actually very beautiful fragrances and scents, but the species of Gladioli that have these scented flowers usually are pollinated by moths that have a very, very well developed sense of smell. And also they are different in color. Usually they are kind of greenish or whitish or like purplish. For example, Border Alpines has Gladiolus tristis for sale. That is a scented Gladiolus species, and this one is a kind of greenish whitish flowers that at nighttime, evening time especially, they smell beautiful. I've read. Unfortunately, I never bloomed Gladiolus tristis. However, another species of Gladiolus, Gladiolus muriele, sometimes called peacock orchid, but it's not an orchid at all, and actually is a very common plant for sale. It's actually a beautiful scent, not particularly strong, but still very easily detectable. And in addition to that, is quite hard in the United Kingdom. If you plant it deep enough in the warmest part of the United Kingdom, you can actually have it as garden plants, a bit like the normal Gladioli hybrids. Unfortunately for this species, as many other Gladioli species, this plant is not hardy. It can, ideally, the temperature should not drop below zero. I've read that it can handle a couple of degrees below 0 degrees Celsius. If you use Fahrenheit, I've read, can handle down to 20 degrees Fahrenheit, but really I wouldn't recommend that. South African Gladioli species tend to be quite tender in the United Kingdom, so I would recommend this plant for USDA zone 9 at minimum. I tell you for experience, I have some other bulbs that are supposed to be hardy in zone 8, USDA zone 8, and I live in Kent in southern England, that is USDA Zone 8. And even with that, we had a snowfall last December 2022, with temperatures dropping at -4, -5, that are quite normal actually for a few days in USDA 8, and many species of Tazetta daffodils that are supposed to be hardy in Zone 8 died. So I really wouldn't risk this kind of species again in the United Kingdom, in most of the United Kingdom, that is USDA 8. Maybe if you live in Cornwall or the Scilly Island, the Scilly Islands, some parts of Wales, maybe like near the sea, you have a USDA Zone 9, so probably the species will survive there as garden plant, but definitely not in most part of the United Kingdom. So this one again is a autumn to spring grower. So in the United Kingdom, would suggest put it in indoors, in a windowsill, unheated windowsill, or in a cold frame where temperatures do not drop really below zero, and you will be rewarded by this beautiful and unusual bloom of this quite rare species. As usual, I hope that you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any information, any question about this species or any other species that I grow, please let me know, and of course I hope to see you next time on my channel. Thank you very much, and well, happy spring.